Hey guys, Jeffrey Leon. Welcome to my YouTube channel dedicated to the advancement of Christian theology, explicating the mark of the beast. May God bless the reading of His holy word. Revelation 14:9 through 11. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. As I said before in another installment, I believe that the beast power is actually soliciting the seal of Satan now. We're all becoming aware of we're all becoming painfully aware of sin's presence in our lives, and our need to reconcile to God. When men cannot reconcile pain, they have not rest in their perceived injustices, and I believe this is the rest that's talked about in the third angel's message of Revelation 14. So, the beast power is the judge, jury, and executioner for the sins of man. We know this, Romans 7:12 through 14. Wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy, just, and good. Was then that which is good made death unto me? God forbid sin, that it might appear sin, working death in me by that which is good, that sin by the commandment might become exceeding sinful. We know that the only way you can perceive injustice and sin is by the presence of God residing within you. Even if you're carnal and you're it's what Romans 6 through 12 through 14 describes as a Gentile, even benevolent people that are operationally good and don't perform wickedness on a daily basis. The only way that we as even wicked people perceive injustice, the only way that any man can perceive injustice is by the presence of God. And so I believe that this is what that passage is explicating here in Romans 7, chapter 7, verse 12 through 14. Isaiah 54:16 says, Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. So the beast power is the judge, jury, and executioner for the sins of man, the very abode of death residing within man. John 15:1 through 6. It becomes an operational work within man to impose death upon people that the beast power requires its worship of. Revelation 13:15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So it's actually it's a spiritual power operational within man. It acts as judge, jury, and executioner for the sins of man, not necessarily for their crimes as manifested as natural man, but for just perceived hypocrisy and sins of men. And is the very abode of death residing within man as an operational work that man performs because he has the mark of the beast. And it's here we go. It's John 15:1 through 6. I am the true vine, and my Father is a husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away, and every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. Now you are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine, no more can ye, except ye abide in me. I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me ye can do nothing. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch and is withered, and men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. So that's a depiction of the final judgment of the wicked of the earth, that those that cannot receive the love of God. Because when God withdraws their presence, they cannot receive God, therefore they cannot receive the love of God. And when God withdraws his presence from them, they become operationally just like serial killers, like people that want people to worship them, and they want to, eventually they force everybody to bow down to their power, on pain of death. Revelation 13:15 makes that absolutely clear. And because men that cannot receive God, they cannot receive the love of God. Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. We know that faith is cognizance of God's goodness and presence. And men, even wicked men, are cognizant of God's goodness and presence, but it's not operational within their souls. It's not a work that they perform in righteousness. And actually the devil, the Bible makes it very clear, the only way Satan can fool people is from the highest manifestation of or Satan's highest military tactical advantage over man is to conceal himself within a position of righteousness within man. And 2 Corinthians 11:13-15, for such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Christ. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Therefore it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. So the beast power is a spiritual power that seeks to, it acts as judge, jury, and executioner for the sins of man. Much more, spiritually speaking, much more than just man committing transgression and crimes and civil disobedience as natural man. It actually is a power that goes after people for hypocrisy, for people that they perceived as are unjust against God. But it's a satanic movement residing within man to destroy all flesh, to destroy man, and to convince man to bow down, to yield to the lordship of Satan, thus destroying man from within, and then ever increasingly man destroys his environment. So the world does not hear the voice of God, and therefore they cannot receive the fullness of his presence. We know that. But the natural man, 1 Corinthians 2:14, but the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness unto him, neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. And the mark of the beast, even for a natural man, the mark of the beast is made manifest via satanic administrative control. And here we are, we're back to Revelation 13:15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast should speak, and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So these are, I'm giving you markers as natural men, people that are not operationally within God's, bearing fruit righteously, which that can take time. I mean, it's, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, but it takes time to actually bear fruit and be able to rightly divide the word, and to actually yield spiritual treasure for people in the kingdom, and give them instruction, enlightenment, and edification. So it just takes time, and it takes, the smartest people in the world can read some of the simplest passages of Scripture, and it'll just totally confounding. They don't understand it. They know what it means. And and the more you apply the Word of God to your heart, the more dynamic God's presence will be felt in your life. Hebrews 11:1. Faith is cognizance of God's goodness and presence. So, like I said, I do believe that evil men are soliciting the seal of soliciting the seal of Satan now. Revelation 14:9-11, the third angel's message makes that absolutely abundantly clear in my mind anyway. As far as injustice being done to me, I'm absolutely positive that of this movement that's taking place now. And Revelation 17:1-6 is a group of people claiming to bear the righteous standard of God, but actually they're people that blaspheme God. They tell lies. They tell lies against God's glory and God's truth that has been clearly made manifest to the saints, and they they fornicate with the world. They're in love with the world more than they love God, and these things draw their affections away from God. Love not the world, nor any of the things that are in the world. For all that is in the world, the lust of flesh, the lust of eyes, and pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. And we know there are many antichrists. So it's also spiritual power. It comes in and it claims righteousness. It actually ministers. You'll find that the only way you can get people to drink poison is to disguise it by lemonade. And it's the same thing with this high satanic power. What it does, it conceals itself within a position of righteousness externally, how people perceive righteousness as natural men and not as spiritual beings, as depicted in the standard of God's holy word in the revelation of Jesus Christ. And as Satan conceals himself within an outward manifestation of righteousness, his works are actually evil, and it brings forth fruit unto death. And it brings forth fruit unto death that everybody that it comes in contact with. There's nobody, the beast power is judging people for hypocrisy. That's what they do. They're a power that's like a power it's a judge, a jury, and an executioner for everybody. It's justified. Satan has concealed himself within a position of man, within a position of righteousness within man, executing death upon what he perceives among all flesh. And we know that children are not condemned. They don't stand condemned before God. And anybody that commits a crime against a child is based on the fact that person is judging that child as a hypocrite, is totally satanic, because the Matthew 18:10 says, take heed that you despise not one of these little ones, for we know that in heaven their angels for in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven. Children do not stand condemned before God because they're not operationally cognizant of the ramifications of their sins and how that will affect their environment and the world at large. So that's but the beast power doesn't care about that. The beast power is seeking men to worship it, and the fact that the beast power is trying to solicit death among the population, if the beast power goes out and makes manifest his works to the population, that the beast power is torturing and murdering people, then the beast power will have the fear, and that's part of the deadly wound in the head of the beast that's depicted in Revelation 13:3. And I saw one of its heads as it was wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And that Revelation 13:3 does not say that all the world is worshiping and they have his mark right there in that passage, but it is saying people are wondering what is going on. They don't know why these people are doing what they're doing to them. And there's no other explanation except for the fact that they're satanic. They serve Satan and they serve death to the world. Sin is poison to the soul. It's corrupted their soul to the point that they're bringing forth fruit and a harvest unto death, which is what we just read in John 15, verses 1 through 6. So, but if you were edified by this lesson, please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel to receive notifications of future installments. Thank you so much.